Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashtata Deshatharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Shrunvata Swagat Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Shrunvata Swagata Krishna Punya Shravana Kirtanaha Tukayantasto Hi Apatrani Vidunoti Sudritsatam Ashtaprayeshu Apatreshu Nityam Bhagavata Seviya Bhagavati Uttam Sloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki Hare Krishna. Right. So I don't know if you're all celebrating Ekadasi today. Yes, okay. So it just started for us. So happy Ekadasi, everyone. I think it's a very auspicious day to glorify Krishna and hear Srimad Bhagavatam. So we can get started. 1 minute, let me just get my book. Okay. So now we all know the outline of the story so far. So I'm not going to go in depth, but just kind of get the mindset. Vidura returns to Hastinapur from his pilgrimage, and Vidura returns after hearing from Maitreya about what? Self-realization. Then all the Hastinapur residents received him as if they regained their consciousness. And Yudhishthira inquires about Vidura's travels and Dwarakavasis. Now there's conversation that is happening between Yudhishthira and Vidura. That's what we are talking about from verses 8 to 13. And then Vidura relates everything except the news of Yadu's annihilation. And Vidura's purpose of staying in Hastinapur was to benefit Dhritarashtra, who's attached to his family affairs. And then Vidura, he chastises Dhritarashtra. He says, get out of here. Fear has overtaken you. The Lord as Kala, he has approached us and forces everyone to surrender everything, including life also. All your relatives died and symptoms of old age appeared in you. Living like a dog of Bhima, no need to live this degraded life. You are a Kripana. You couldn't be a Narottama. Become Dhira. Leave for the north. See, this is all instructions for us. This is all meant for us. Yudhishthira is instructing Dhritarashtra. And like Dhritarashtra, we are all very attached to the family. We are very miserly. We don't want to think about Lord. And so symptoms of old age are also appearing in us. Every day we become old. We are not realizing that. So everything that is being spoken about in verses 18 to 28 is certainly true with us. Vidura's instructions for Dhritarashtra is meant for us, and we have to take the lessons learned. This is very important. Kala is approaching it. It spares no one, right? We are all bound by Kala, and every moment that we waste is a waste of time. Time cannot be got back. So that's the principle that is being talked about here. And then Dhritarashtra, Gandhari and Vidura, they leave, and Dhritarashtra and Yudhishthira is lamenting for the same. So we talked about that, right? Last week, we talked about the fact that Gandhari followed Dhritarashtra and Yudhishthira and discovered their departure. Yudhishthira lamented and inquired from Sanjaya. Sanjaya feels cheated. So cheated in the sense he's been with Dhritarashtra for such a long time and he was not notified about Dhritarashtra leaving. So we have to talk about this principle, right? I mean, cheating, is this okay? What kind of cheating is allowed? This is something we definitely need to discuss. I'm sure you would have discussed it in your previous classes as well. But this is one theme that I want to talk about in today's class because it's very important theme to understand where to cheat and where not to cheat, and what is cheating when it comes to spiritual matters. Is it allowed? So this is something that we will discuss today. And then after that, Narada Muni shatters Yudhishthira's lamentation and illusion. So we have arrival of Narada Muni and King Yudhishthira's inquiries. Narada Muni philosophically dispelled his illusion, which is what is the theme from 41 to 50. And then after that, what happened? Future acts of Dhritarashtra is that he left for Himalayas, he performed Ashtanga Yoga and gives up his body, and Gandhari does sati, and Vithura, he goes for pilgrimage. So this is sort of the summary of the chapter that we are going through, Dhritarashtra, and how he leaves home and what he practices and things like that. So now, as I told you, we will go through certain themes from today's thing, and I'm also going to go over the purport for today so that we kind of get an understanding of what is being discussed in the purport. So today's verses are 49 to 50. Okay, so let's just talk about a few important things from there, and then we will go on to the themes that we have for today and discuss those themes. I know we have only 25 minutes. We will try to keep it short and sweet, but at the same time cover the relevant points. All right. So let's do that. So the 49th verse is essentially talking about the fact that Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, in the guise of all devouring time, Kala Rupa, has now descended to the earth to eliminate the envious from the world. And then he says there are two classes of human beings, namely the envious and the obedient. Since the Supreme Lord is one and Father of all living beings, the envious living beings are also his sons, but they are known as Asuras. But the living beings who are obedient to the Supreme Father are called Devatas or demigods because they are not contaminated by the material conception of life. Not only the Asuras, the envious of the Lord, in even denying the existence of Lord, but they are also envious of all living entities. The predominance of Asuras in the world is occasionally rectified by the Lord when he eliminates them from the world and establishes the rule of Devatas like Pandavas. His designation as Kala in disguise is significant. He is not at all dangerous, but he is the transcendental form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. For the devotees, his factual form is disclosed. But for the non-devotees, he appears like Kala Rupa, which is causal form. This causal form of the Lord is not pleasing to the Asuras, and therefore they think of the Lord as formless in order to feel secure that they will not be vanquished by the Lord. So now, Prabhupada talks about very beautiful themes, and he talks about the Kala Rupa, right? Even in Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Kala Rupa. How the Kala Rupa is acting in different forms for different people. Now, as I told you, what is faith? Anybody remembers from last class what is faith? The definition of faith, it's very important. We have to get it to our heart. That is why I'm asking this question. If anybody remembers, please tell me what the definition of faith is. Okay, if you don't remember, please note it down now. Faith means it is Shastrata Vishwasaha. That is, so understanding and believing in the conclusions of the Shastras. This is faith. Please note this point. Understanding and believing in the conclusions of the Shastras. And what does the Shastra's conclusion say? The conclusion says Krishna is the maintainer and Krishna is the ultimate benefactor for all of us. He is the maintainer, and that is what is the Angi. The principles of Sharanagati, we saw there are 6 principles. And in that principle, we have one principle that talks about Krishna being the maintainer and the protector of everyone and every entity. So now, this is the Angi. Angi means all others are dependent on this principle. You will have Anukulyas, you will follow 100% Anukulyasya Sankalpa Pratikulyasya Varchanam if you have trust in this particular principle that Krishna is the maintainer and Krishna is my protector. Then if you have strong sort of feeling towards this particular point that he is my protector and he is my maintainer, then all other principles of Sharanagati will follow you. So this is the basis. Okay, this is the Angi. And this is what is Shastrata Vishwasaha is faith. And the symptom of faith is Sharanagati. right? Symptom of faith is Sharanagati, meaning surrender. As I told you, in the surrender, we have 6 limbs, and in that, one of the most important limb, the Angi, is Krishna is the protector and he is my maintainer. When you have this principle taken care of in your life, then all other principles of Sharanagati will follow. Okay. Now that we have spoken about what is faith and what is Sharanagati, we need to understand what is the symptom of Sharanagati. The symptom of Sharanagati is that the person becomes fearless. What does the person become? He becomes fearless. He is not afraid of anything. An intelligent person hearing the symptom of Sharanagati, will he not surrender to the Lord? Yes or not? An intelligent person, he hears the statement saying fearlessness is the symptom of Sharanagati. So I want to surrender. This is what an intelligent person will say, isn't it? If he is intelligent, he will say this. So what I want to say at the end of the day is all others who are not surrendered to the Lord, they are all going to be in fear. And that is why I'm just trying to correlate it with the purport to say that the death, Krishna appears as Kala Rupa to the non-devotees because they are not surrendered. That is why fear of death is there. For a surrendered soul, this fear is not there. 100% surrendered soul will not have fear. Hope you're able to catch this very important concept and a point, right? An intelligent person, what he will do, why he will surrender? Because who doesn't want to surrender? Isn't it? Who doesn't want to surrender? If Krishna says you will become fearless, who doesn't want to surrender? Everyone wants to surrender. This is the point. An intelligent person who knows Shastras, he will surrender. But others who have no idea of what surrender is, they will be in fear. Fear is going to captivate them all the time. So this is very important. This is one of the important this is one of the important points that I wanted to bring about from Srila Prabhupada's purport today. Now, if you look at time, right? We also saw the time. We also saw about time in the previous purports. And I want to bring up a few important points about time and also talk about cheating from a transcendental perspective, what cheating is. But anyways, first let me get to time because it's very important to understand how to utilize our time in the right way. Of course, as I told you, it's also meant for me. So let me also get it into my head by reiterating some of the points as to how to avoid spending time in useless things. A devotee, if you look at today's world, he finds himself bombarded by atyaharas or senses, excess consumption. There is so much consumption for the ears. There is so much consumption that is available for the eyes. There's so much consumption that's available for the stomach. And what happens is the excess consumption of be it the speech or excess consumption of the remaining sense organs leads to a very unique situation, which is not favorable for our devotional service. If you look at our world today, we have YouTube, and YouTube has unlimited number of videos. You are given a choice to browse anything, and then ads will pop up depending upon what kind of search you do in the internet, right? There's Uber Eats, there is WhatsApp, there is Spotify for years, there is Amazon. So many, and Amazon has Prime videos and so many things, right? I don't have track of all that. But anyways, devotees living in this age of ahar, there is something that senses need, and the senses are always inputted some information that is coming from various parts of the world. Various gadgets, various technologies. Because of that, the senses are given some sort of input every minute. So everybody is waiting to serve you, right? Almost for free, because everybody wants your attention. They are willing to give you a 2-month trial. They say, oh yeah, you just have to, we'll give you 2-month trial, and till that time, we will not charge your credit card. Just use it for free, see how is it. And then we are okay if you cancel it after 2 months. And what would happen? We will start using it. we will start to give that attention because it's free. We want to utilize it to the maximum extent. We start using it every day for almost 60 days now. And then a time comes where you have to let go of it, but you are not ready to, because you've become so addicted to it and you want to make the best use of that. And then say, I would subscribe for it. So now everyone is trying to give you free atyahar, and devotees, they cannot indulge in atyahar, right? A devotee, he becomes disappointed. There is so much available to the senses, but I really don't want it. So he asks a very logical question. How should I be consuming these input through these sensory mediums? What should I do to get rid of all these distractions that I have? What should be my mindset? So my mind right now is focused on so many things. And these things are distracting me. So much sense gratification is there, and my mind is indulged in so many different directions. What will I do sitting at home for so many hours of the day? I need some engagement for the mind. Therefore, we have so many things invented. So why not I use it? But what our acharyas are trying to say here with regards to this, a very brilliant point was brought about by our His Grace Hari Pashad Prabhu. He said, why we should not indulge in these things. So once we understood, once we understand, we can replace these things. It would be very nice, it seems. How to avoid this? This is what he's been talking about. And he says, basically, every human being, if you look at, we have two resources in life. Okay, this is very important point that Prabhuji is bringing about. That is, two main resources are there in everybody's life. Okay, and everybody is competing for these two resources that we have in our life. And what are these two resources? So Krishna, he tells in Bhagavad Gita that among the great thinkers, I am Sukracharya. And if you look at Sukracharya Niti, it talks about two important resources, time and money. These are the two important resources, it seems. And if you look at the translation from this Sukraniti Shastra, I mean, Shukraniti, I think it's Sukracharya's wisdom. It talks about, it is Niti number 3.176. And Prabhuji says, good knowledge should be acquired by collecting and saving fractions of time. Whereas prosperity should be acquired by collecting and saving fractions of money. Okay, I repeat this again. Good knowledge should be acquired by collecting and saving fractions of time, whereas prosperity should be acquired by collecting and saving fractions of money. For one who wastes time, there is the possibility of acquiring knowledge. For one who wastes fractions of money, where is the possibility of acquiring prosperity? So he says, these fleeting moments of time that we are wasting, right? We are wasting. And this is actually a resource that we have in our life. So this is the first resource we have in our life. Okay. And the second resource that we have in our life is money. So basically, these two resources are very dear to the devotees, time and money. And these two resources, I mean, these are the only two resources. And if you look at it, all other resources are created by these two resources. Namely, say, for example, home, property, car, computers, mobile phones, all the resources, if you put time and money, you will get it. So Shana and Kana. Shana means time and Kana means money. So these are the two resources, basic resources that we are having in our life. Now, let's get back to our problem. If you look at our problem, we are facing sensory input from so many different places. And all these are sources of distraction. And if you look at these distractions that we have, they are trying to either get time or they are trying to get money from us. These are the two things that they are targeting. Those distractions that we have in today's world are targeting what? They are targeting our time or they are targeting our money. Okay. So if you look at the first sensory input that we get through ears, what are they aiming for? Are they aiming for time or are they aiming for money? They are aiming for time. Basically, they are not worried so much about the person's user's money. They're not worried too much about it, but they're asking, oh, how many hours did this guy listen? Did he complete listening through the entire audio or video? This is what they are looking for. Second, through the eyes, we see websites, right? YouTube. They calculate success by how many millions of views spending in each of their YouTube videos. So basically, million views and number of hours. This is what they. So finally, it boils down. This is what they want. They are targeting your thing. Now, if you go to websites, what are they aiming for? If you go to Amazon website, are they looking for your time? Are they looking for your money? Anything from them? Will they want? If they will they want you? No, they don't want you. Worried how much time you spend in the website. At the end of the day, how much money are they making? So they want your money. So for that, they are ready to give advertisement. They are ready to do some free trials. They are ready to do anything, right? Now, the websites, there are websites that allow you monetize our speech. Are they charging us anything? They don't. They don't charge anything. You can speak whatever you want, like in Twitter, something, whatever. They are just looking for your time again. Okay. And finally, there are also websites that are also providing gratification to our other senses. They are aiming for money. They don't worry too much about the time that you spent. The websites, basically, they are just looking for money from you. So the sources of distraction are aiming at what? The two resources that are given to us. The first is the time, the second is the money. That is why Vidura, he has been describing to Dhritarashtra how valuable is the time. How valuable it is the time when you are going on doing something again, indulging so much yourself into attachment to family matters. What is this? You have to get up and do something. So now we have highlighted these two resources, time and money. And one is a non-renewable resource. You cannot get it back. That resource is a time. The most important resource a person has today is time, dear devotees. The time he is spending. Those who are millionaires in terms of money, they are beggars in terms of time. You will notice that, right? Many of us today are not suffering from poverty of money. Many of us are suffering from poverty of time because our time has been snatched away by these distractions. These distractions are presenting so many, see, somebody may be coming to our house, okay? They may personally visit us, but we'll be engaged in our phone constantly, just trying to see, oh, who's messaged me, who's not messaging me, who's given me likes, who's not giving me likes. Like that, we are constantly engaged in our phone, even though somebody has come to visit us personally. How much disrespect are we giving to that person who's come to visit us? So now, see how it is. I mean, how these people are attacking us. Say, for example, WhatsApp. When you install it on your phone, it will be like, oh, I can easily speak to people. I don't have to go to their homes. This is what they present to us. You don't have to walk to a person's house to speak to them. You can speak to them personally over WhatsApp. Oh, it's very nice and easy. Now, they don't tell you that you can speak to 1,000 people simultaneously, right? How many people can come to your home at once? Maybe 40, 45. But how many people are you chatting on WhatsApp? Yeah, I don't know the count, but it's just more, right? So we have to ask ourselves this question. Is these things facilitating our stay in this material world to go back to Godhead, or it is helping us or not helping us? These were just presented as incentives, and now we cannot even live without it. This is how entangled we are. Of course, it includes me as well. So now there's just a beautiful analogy that is presented here. If you look at Britishers, right? They introduced tea in India and they gave it to us for free. But then all Indians started becoming addicted to tea. Just giving free samples of tea made them addict. to tea. And now they can't live without tea, coffee, right? That has become, it's one of the important things. They have to start their day to get some energy. They need that drink. So how free samples, giving free samples, because of which the addiction happens. This is point number one. You are given everything freely. So you want to try it. You want to just explore it. Why not I explore? This is what our mind says. And we just go and explore. But we give ourselves to that website or that video, audio, whatever it might be. This is Pratikul for devotional service. If it is going to be Pratikul, what does Saranda say? The principles of Sharanagati we've seen. Anukulyasya sankalpa, pratikulyasya vachanam. So if it is pratikul for Krishna consciousness, we have to give up on those things. Now to give it up, it's a big deal. I've become so addicted, so many hours of usage of internet. So I cannot live without it now. It has become a part of me. How I can give my part to somebody else or just sacrifice it. This is where our conviction has to come. So Vyavasayatmika Buddhi. Vyavasayatmika Buddhi talks about only one goal in life. Only one goal. That is what is one-pointed intelligence. One-pointed intelligence means to have one goal. And that goal is to serve Lord Krishna, serve Guru Gauranga, do loving devotional service onto them. This is my goal. This is what is one-pointed intelligence. And now the mind plays a role here. How does the mind play a role? The mind is the one which gives you that determination to take up that goal. Okay, so very important. Without this mind giving permission to take up that one-pointed goal, it is not possible for us. Sankalpa. That sankalpa is done by the mind. So how mind plays a role is something that we need to understand. How we are using internet every day, because the sankalpa, the mind is very, very sanchala. This is the exact word of the mind, right? It just allows us, yeah, it's okay, just browse for a little bit. You're done with your activities for the day. You did so much service, 4-5 hours of service. You did chanting, you did that, you did this. So now you're given permission to use a little bit of internet. This is how it starts off. Sankalpa, determination is gone because the mind is sanchala. So this is why we need to get our mind and senses purified, dear devotees. It is very difficult to purify the mind directly. So after some time, the mind will also get purified, because the senses are getting used to performing the activities over and over. All devotional activities are performed by the senses, and over a period of time, the mind will also get purified. If you directly try to tackle the mind, it will not listen to us. Okay. So this is another important principle that we can use in our everyday life to take care of these important principles. So our acharyas are telling us to avoid atyahar. Why are they telling about atyahar? Their motivation in telling us is that so that we can save our time, our precious time, we can engage in the direct devotional service of the Lord by performing bhakti, right? Traditionally, when we listen to music in our childhood, usually there used to be radio. That is how we used to listen. All India radio is how we used to tune in and listen. And now music is available all the time, and a lot of contamination in music too. The wordings they use. Of course, Carnatic songs are good. Hindustani is good. Does it glorify about Krishna? What type of music are we feeding into our ears? This is very important, right? People previously used to go to dramas and watch dramas, and there used to be morals out of those dramas. But nowadays, everything is polluted. So this is what our acharyas are saying. These are all atyahar. Please don't waste your time on all of these. These are all going to pollute your consciousness. You will not be able to perform devotional service in a proper way if you are indulging yourself into so many other things. So this is a very, very important thing that we have to take it to our heart, because this devotee, he doesn't want to waste time, because So much is there. Our Shastras are talking about so many important things. Where will we have time if we are distracted with these gadgets? That was one concept that I wanted to speak. Now, let's go to the concept of talking about the other principle that is being spoken here in one of our previous verses. Okay, so let's just get back a few verses to talk about that particular point. Specifically this verse, I think it's 1 minute. So it's 1.13.37. Okay. So here it says, Sanjaya never thought that Dhritarashtra could perform any act without consulting him. But Dhritarashtra's going away from home was so confidential that it could not be disclosed even to Sanjaya. Sanatan Goswami also cheated the keeper of the prison house while going to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And similarly, Raghunathas Goswami also cheated his priest and left home for good to satisfy the Lord. To satisfy the Lord, anything is good, for it is in relationship with the absolute truth. We also had the same opportunity to cheat the family members and leave home to engage in the service of Srimad Bhagavatam. Such cheating was necessary for a great cause. There is no loss for any party in such transcendental fraud. Sorry, that was my son. Anyways, so it is okay to cheat for a transcendental cause. That is the point. So say, for example, if you have to take off, and you're not sick, but if you're going to use that time in devotional service, it's okay to say a lie to your boss. Yes, I have some fever, I cannot come, and we can do this, it seems. This is the point, that we are given privilege. If it is for bhakti, if it is for devotional service, then that kind of cheating is allowed. Again, we should not misuse what is given to us, right? Of course, we have to be really careful about what we cheat and what we should not cheat for. So that is something that we have to keep in mind. Now, the 49th verse, it also talks about the point that the Lord is a form of supreme bliss. He is Sachitananda. But for demons, he appears as time. So now, during Yudhishthira Maharaj's reign, almost all the asuras were killed by the Lord. Now he was awaiting his annihilation of his own dynasty, which is the Edu Vamsha. Narada, like Vidura, he did not disclose this imminent annihilation of the Yadus, but indirectly gave a hint to the Pandavas to wait until Yadus and the Lord depart. Now we have to understand a very important point here, dear devotees. What is being talked about and why it's talked about. Okay, so I'll just give you a glimpse of that. Now, this particular verse, that is verse number 49, we understand the fact that this news was not disclosed by Vidura. If you understand the meaning of why it was not disclosed, again, see, Vidura, he felt, oh, why should I give this displeasing, if you look at Narada, like Vidura, both of them, they did not disclose the news. Why? Because they did not want to give this displeasing news to Yudhishthira Maharaj. Why I should displease Yudhishthira Maharaj? Let him know by his own. I don't want to displease him by giving, oh, I have something to say, and then you bring up this the news that brings displeasure to someone. They don't want to see some sort of lamentation by Yudhishthira Maharaj. Let it happen on its own, and let me not be the cause of the displeasure. That is why it seems they did not reveal that news. This is one point. And then, this is what is the understanding that our acharyas give. Now, so if you look at the previous verses, so there is a point, right? The 46th verse, what does it talk about? So Narada Muni is talking to Yudhishthira Maharaj in the 45th verse about give up your anxiety due to ignorance. Now we are thinking how your relatives, helpless and poorless creature will exist without you. This is what you are thinking about Yudhishthira Maharaj. Why are you thinking like this? This is what he's, see, this is an episode where he's trying to remove the lamentation and illusion of Yudhishthira Maharaj. He's saying, give up your agitation arising from ignorance. How will they suffering and without your protection, how will they live without me? This is what you think. But this is nothing. You should not be disturbed because this is all caused by the mind. The disturbance of the mind is what is making you think how they will live without me. Please give up this illusion. See how the mind disturbs someone is being brought about in the verse 45. And then in the verse 46, it is saying, what is he saying? How can anyone protect others when he himself is in the jaws of the serpent? His body is under the control of Kala, Karma, and Gunas. How can he be the one who can protect others? This is a very, very important point, right? No one can protect anyone else by giving maintenance. Time is the general cause. Vishnu Chakravarti Thakura, he says, there are three causes. One is time, another is karma, another is guna. And the body is made of these elements are dependent on these. The 23 elements are all dependent on what? Time, karma, and guna. The body with these constituents is quickly subjected to destruction. So one person bitten by a snake, he cannot be able to protect others. The point is, Prabhupada also brings up this important point to say that the only thing that is possible to be done to get rid of this eternal time Kala, which is compared to Kala Sarpa or the cobra snake, whose bite is always lethal. That means it's poisonous. No one can be saved from the bite of cobra. The best remedy for getting out of the clutches of cobra like Kala or its integrity is the modes of nature. That is Bhakti Yoga, as it's recommended. The highest perfectional project of philanthropic activities is to engage everyone in preaching Bhakti Yoga to all over the world, so that people can be saved from the control of Maya or the material nature that is represented by Kala, Karma, and Guna. How is this helping a devotee? If you're all able to understand how much we have understood. Kala, so Kala means I have to become fearless. And how I can become fearless? I can become fearless by surrendering to Krishna. Karma, how can you get out of this karma, cycle of karma? Birth, death, old age, and disease. How can you get rid of it? That is by performing Bhakti Yoga. Otherwise, see, whatever actions that you perform, it has a reaction to it. And this way we are accumulating karma every day. When you're doing activity which has no reaction, that means you're doing an activity for Krishna, to please Krishna, to your Guru. That means you'll not be bound by karma. Then you'll not come back to this world. This is how a devotee understands. Guna, how are these modes tackling you? Every day you're bound by modes. I'm in Rajas, because of which I'm in anxiety. I'm in Tamas, because of which I'm lazy. I'm in Sattva-guna, because of which I think, yes, this is the best possible state. And I don't even want to do anything. I'm already situated well. So Sattva says, yeah, knowledge is there. I am perfectly situated. I'm very happy. So all these are binding us to this material world. Even Sattvic nature of us makes us feel content, and we don't want to take up to bhakti because of that also. And because of Sattvic quality, we may get proud also. Who knows? So the point is we have to transcend the gunas. How can that be done? That can be done only with Bhakti Yoga. So this is how a devotee is able to think about Kala, Karma, and Guna. So if we have knowledge on the Shastras, then anything and everything can be tackled. A person who has this understanding versus a person who doesn't have this understanding, he is bound. And we are also bound, of course, but at least we know we are bound. But the other person, he doesn't know he's bound. How will he be able to get out? He doesn't even want to get out. That's the point. So it's very important, dear devotees. And then he brings up the point to say, see, you said, the thing is, you have to understand, he brings up this point to say, oh, you said everything depends on the Lord. That's what you said. Dhritarashtra's maintenance, how is he going to be maintained? You're saying now, yes, the answer is the Lord is going to give maintenance to Dhritarashtra. Everyone's maintenance is taken care of by the Lord. And now, Okay, if everybody Lord is going to take care of, maintain. See, this is the point, dear devotees. If you go to Vrindavan, not a single person goes hungry, right? Every time there is somebody giving prasadam to you, you will never go hungry. Kamalochan Prabhu, it looks like he was saying that His Grace Kamalochan Prabhu, he was saying one day he was fasting in Vrindavan and he said, oh, I'm not going to take anything unless it comes to me by its own accord in Vrindavan. And somehow he just had to fast the whole day. Nothing came to him. But at the end of the day, it looks like a rich person was distributing prasadam to everyone in that particular area. And he was also asked to come and participate in it. So in this way, if Krishna decides he wants to make, he's Krishna, if we have this whole conviction, Krishna is the maintainer and protector, which is the Angi, the principle of Angi from Sharanagati, right? If we have this complete trust that Krishna will maintain me, he will maintain you. For that kind of devotee, Krishna will maintain him. He's not dependent on karma. He's not dependent on jnana, nothing. I'm just dependent on the Lord. And that Lord, he will maintain you. The point that I wanted to say is, you're saying, okay, everything depends on the Lord, but here you're saying the body depends on Kala, Karma and Guna. So how is this going to help us understand that Lord is the maintainer? We have to be dependent on the Lord. If everything is dependent on the Lord, why are we saying body is dependent on Kala, Karma and Guna? Then there's an explanation in the purport that talks about, oh, these are all nothing but they are all the energies of the Lord. These are all energies of the Lord. The Lord has multiple energies. Antarang Shakti, Bhagiranga Shakti, all that is there in the Lord. And these are all those only. So Lord is the cause of all that. So that is how we have to show our dependence to the Lord, because even Kala, Karma and Guna are all dependent on the Lord. So this was the point that is being talked about in the purport. And then that's 49 purport comes, where we just said that the Lord is the protector of all beings, and here he has appeared in the form of time to destroy the demons. So that is where we talked about the contrast, and we also talked about the point that why Narada, like Vidura, did not disclose this matter to Yudhishthira Maharaj about the Yadu dynasty devastation. Anyways, so with this, we will stop, dear devotees. Thank you so much. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripasindubhyaeva patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Ananta koti vaishnav vrinda ki jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaura Bhakta vrinda ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you so much. We sincerely apologize for this initial hiccup where we couldn't join on the same link, the usual link, and then I think you talked to Mataji and then created this link. Thank you so much again for having conviction that we'll continue the class.
Yes, sure, Prabhuji. I didn't.
Thank you, Mataji. And this was an auspicious day, as you said, Ekadasi day, and then to hear Krishna Katha, and then importantly on you explained different aspects of time and cheating aspects, like how it can be utilized in the service of Krishna. And most people think that cheating means it's a bad quality to have, and it's not. Of course, for a devotee, cheating is not at all desirable. But if you're cheating for the pleasure of Krishna, then it becomes good. But of course, within the boundaries of the moral codes. Yeah. Thank you so much, Mataji, for this wonderful class. Are there any questions or comments? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I wanted to ask Mataji a question.
Sure, Mataji.
Mataji, I wanted to ask you a question not related to today's discourse, which was very motivating. Thank you so much. I wanted to know, what are the Sattvic hours? I understand, or I heard, that the Sattvic hours start from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. Is that correct?
You mean Brahma Muhurta?
No, not the Brahma Muhurta, that, I was told that the Sattvic hours start from 2 a.m. to 10 a.m. and then Rajasic from 10 to 6 and then Tamasic from 6 p.m. to 2 a.m.
Mataji, usually the thing is morning is usually Sattvic. You're right. I mean, just the time that we have, people rise between 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. till 9 a.m. till we start our work. Basically, when we start our work, that is the time the Rajasic thing kicks off. When we start our daily duties, when we start our work, that is the time, because to start some activity, we need a mode of passion, right? So that is when the passion kicks in. When we start our work, that time could be 9, 10. So that is the time for Rajas activity. And then the night time usually is Tamasic. So that is why we are asked to sleep early so that we can rise early. So this is a general, I mean, I'm just not going through the times per se, but a person, as he performs the activity through the day, he's in a Rajasic mode. And then the time to bed, that is Tamasic. I mean, obviously, that time is, it could start from 7 around 7 p.m. to, yeah. So that is why we are not supposed to stay awake for long periods of time during the night time. And that's an time that we need to rest. Why we need to rest is we have accumulated so much during the day, right? Our body needs to digest all this information that has gone through during the day. And for this information to be digested, we need to take proper rest. Then only we can assimilate this information and be able to start our day fresh next day.
Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji, for this question and answer. Are there any other comments or questions? We have exhausted the time. Of course, we started late. Any other comments or questions?
Just a small request, Prabhuji. I think Lakshmi Pasupati Mataji's kid is not well. Let's just chant for her benefit as well.
Oh, sure. Let's all unmute and then chant for Lakshmi Mataji's kid. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you.
So we have exhausted the time. And we all chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra in glorification of Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyeva Nam pavanebhyo Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Her Grace Radhika Kasturi Mataji ki jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you, dear devotees. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.